Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's recap, I really want to be focusing on where is it? ATHE. Wowie. I mean, I could have slayed ATHE. We did okay with it, but I left a lot of profits on the table. And honestly, my last trade, I even gave back on quite a bit of profits too. And well, not quite a bit, but still. So really the thing I want to be focusing on with ATHE is where did we go wrong and what did we do right? So there was a few things pre-market I was looking at that we'll talk about in a second that really allowed me to trade ATHE to the point where we obviously made money on it. But then there was a few things I did wrong that made me leave a lot of money on the table. So I want to talk about those key lessons. If it's taking profits early, if it's maybe re-entering a trade based on certain indicators. So just kind of going over that a little bit, and I think that's going to be a really good thing for you guys to understand a little bit more about my trading strategy in a nutshell. We'll also be talking about several other tickers that we traded today. I also want to be talking about AAL and KODK near the end. Are they still possible swing trades? What happened to my swing trades and all that fun stuff? So guys, without further ado, let's go into the charts. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy the content. If you're totally new here, consider subscribing. I would love to if you join the community. It's a really good fun place. We go live every morning at 9:15 a.m. to review the watch list and then trade the market open. The chat room is just tremendously helpful and I would love to have you join it. So guys, let's dive into the charts now. All right, guys, welcome back. So here you see it, filled orders. Let's quickly close this one. All the profit today came from ATHE, even though this thing most of the day was really just pulling back. We had some really nice dip trades. We had some nice reversals, but right at the end with ATHE, I dropped the ball pretty hard. So we'll talk about where I went wrong and what I should have, could have, would have done, let's just say. It's always going to be different, but it's good to analyze that because the more you analyze that and you see similar situations, you're going to have that hindsight knowledge and be like, okay, I was in this position before, let's not make the same mistake, or at least try to trade in a way that could mitigate some of that mistake potential. So ATHE, we had HUSA, we had COCP, and we had ZCMD, all basically scratches or losses, and then ATHE really took the gold. And it's not really surprising either. I mean, ATHE really was kind of the one pre-market that was really showing probably the most signs of potential. And so let's zoom out of this one a little bit more here. Here you go. So 10 million float, Australian biotech, animal testing, positive results on MSA drug, which is a Parkinson's disorder cure, or drug for the Parkinson's disease, or disorder. What I didn't like about ATHE, and I have two flags on my watch list here, and right here we had a pretty vicious pullback. It was 30%. Now, you guys know that pre-market, if you have a pre-market high and the stock pulls back over 30% from pre-market highs, usually that's a really big red sign. And then to really kind of, put the nail in the coffin, it does that again, but this time 41%. And that's like the biggest red flag you kind of need. So let's go back here, ATHE. We know on the daily chart, this one, has been a little bit tricky. Has a lot of these kind of spikes to the upside, but it doesn't seem like these spikes really ever hold their highs very well. So I was also going into ATHE thinking, well, this one probably won't hold its highs either. So I'm already like a little bit negative. I know there's a lot of selling momentum, but 10 million float, it has that spike ability. It has the ability to hold its highs for a little bit and then rip to the upside. I knew ATHE had the potential, and that was a big reason why my last trade, actually I ended red because I knew it had that potential, and I kind of really tried to push it to the limit. ATHE, we had a few trades on this one in the morning. I did a little dip trade here. I saw it found some support around 4.3, did some dip trades in this area. The problem is, like, the most obvious dip trade here at actually 427, I didn't get because I was trading something else at the time. It's really hard to trade more than one ticker at once because you're just missing like all the key details in the order book over and over again. I did one more trade here on ATHE. This was, again, a little bit of a winner. I never really felt comfortable holding this one very long. So that was kind of my biggest mistake in a way pre-market with ATHE. And then let's go here because this is going to be a good one to kind of recap the full thing. So let's quickly get in position here, and let's start clicking away. I'm going to use my mouse so I don't rip my wrist in half. So, okay. ATHE pulls up here and then has a quick little pullback, and I'm like, okay, well, red to green move, that's what we were looking for. The problem is I didn't get the dip under 45. That was actually what I kind of wanted. And I front run this one like an eager beaver for no reason. And then guess what happens? I basically get shaken out of this one for a small loss, which is kind of annoying because, you know, I took pretty big size on this one, and I entered too aggressively at 3.56. Like, why would I do that? I averaged down a little bit, but I knew I made a mistake. I knew this thing, when it didn't bounce very hard off at 3.48, I was so worried for a second flush. So we pulled back higher here to 35. And I closed this one for a small loss. Again, you know, I left a little bit of money on the table, but I wasn't even sure if we were going to even break the 9-minute EMA because it was so weak. So regardless, I'm happy that I got out, even though I could have made a small profit on this one. But then, you know, after the flush, the selling volume kind of disappears. I know $3, multi-month support and resistance. We kind of talked about this for a second here, $3 zone, huge key zone. This is again, I'm like, okay, I like that it pulled back when we get aggressive on this one. I didn't go as aggressive on this one. I mean, it's down 40 or 30 cents a share, and I used $100 less, or 100 shares less. So much technically smaller size. Has a nice little pop to the upside. I sell 27. I'm at this point an emotional wreck because I'm just using bigger size and I can't really control myself that well. It actually ends up pulling up a little bit higher. So again, I sell too soon. Sells off again. And then this time, you know, has a nice crack above 3.5. I was kind of upset I missed this one because I wanted to actually buy down here, but I was looking for a little bit better of a setup, maybe a bigger double bottom. But now that I look back at it, actually it kind of had a really good pullback. Or I could have, you know, bought 3.5 as it was chipping away, but I don't know. Has a nice pull to 3.5. Retest this area. I think trading these dips would have been a little bit tricky. You just would have had to been quick. Let's fast forward again. I took my next trade here as we were kind of approaching this double bottom. That was a big catalyst for why I entered this trade, made a little bit more money on this one. Again, I sold way too soon. And then, you know, here I had a small loss, I think, on this one, just a little bit of a loss, kind of a scalp trade looking for that break, which happened. But again, I sold too soon. It was like really, so like I'm constantly selling too soon on ATHE. That seems to be the trend. So guess what happens? This thing breaks 3.5. We have a beautiful pullback. I get a great entry on the pullback right on the 9-minute EMA. And then we have a little bit of a potential continuation. Now this, all of a sudden, I was up about 4% on a pretty decent size, about $3,000, but not the size where I would have sold. I didn't get shaken out of this one. I was like, okay, well, you know, smaller size, I have some cushion. Let's hold it a little bit longer. Let's give it a little bit longer. It tries again here, and then the next one dips. And I'm like, no. So I get out of this for, it's about a 6 cents a share loss. You know, it was like $60. It wasn't the end of the world, but it was a little bit annoying because it was like, oh, you know, it's so annoying being up 1% or so. And then, or no, we were up about 4% and then we closed for a 1% loss. There's honestly, I don't mind missing moves. I don't mind missing, you know, a whole ticker that flies, but like there's something about being up, having profits, especially like 4%, and then closing for a loss. There's something about that just like really bites the soul. And then guess what happens? You just, it's classic me. This thing pulls off one more time. I'm like, okay, well, this is actually holding its highs, not selling off as much as I thought. This is probably going to be, you know, having a reversal soon. And guess what? It actually does, except I never get back into this thing. So let's think about this. Why? Okay, so one, my first mistake, even though everything I was doing this day was saying I should hold a little bit longer. So that's a big reason I held this one. I didn't feel like I was gambling. I was not shooting for the moon. I was looking for a bit move over 3.57, into the 3.56s, and I was going to sell before VWAP. Again, kind of a conservative move. So I didn't really think I was being greedy, but whatever, it didn't work out. So I should have took my base hit. You know, we were up 3-4%. I should have took it, moved on, and then bought on maybe a pullback. But I didn't know a pullback was going to happen. But okay, in hindsight, whatever. Let's actually go back one candle. So here we're kind of moving up here. We have a little pullback, and then we have some consolidation and another red candle pullback, some more consolidation. Look at the red candles. They're both of them go smaller. So now all of a sudden we have some green candles coming in here and a bit of a reversal. We have two huge green candles, biggest volume so far, almost biggest volume on the day, possibly the biggest volume. And we're starting a trend to the upside. Now we do have a lot of sell volume in this one, but this it didn't hold very long. So actually just go back. So a lot of sell volume, but the price didn't go down. So a lot of bullish factors here. And then before you know it, we actually break VWAP, and then we even break 4.5. And yeah, this was a little bit painful because this is the move I was expecting to be here. And it's not even like in hindsight, this is actually a better setup because this setup, we have a lot of volume here, just the same amount of volume as this one. And we have actually less sell volume. So this one actually is really good. The only thing is when it didn't continue here, I should have just got out. I should have been like, okay, well, you know what? The trade didn't work. I was looking for that continuation. I'm not going to give it 2 tries, 3 tries. That was the 1 try. I could have closed for a small profit, better than a small loss, right? We were up, pretty nicely on this, like 460, close to 500, maybe even over 500. I don't remember. So yeah, gave back technically a lot of my profits by not taking my profits. Yeah, this thing keeps moving higher. I should have got aggressive on this thing at one point, but I didn't really trust ATHE, and all I wanted was a attempt of break of VWAP. That was kind of what my goal was. I wasn't really trying to buy it in this area. Even cracks $5, and this is pretty much it. After that, it totally sells off, and it doesn't really amount to too much. Actually, why is the volume? Something is super incorrect about this volume. Hold on one second. What was that issue? That was a really weird issue. I apologize for that, guys. That was a bit confusing. There we go. Okay, so let me go back here just to kind of recap this area. I mean, the volume is pretty much the same. We do have a nice spike in this area, and we have more sell volume, so nothing really changes too much. But I was like, wait, the volume shouldn't look like this. Then the volume really spikes in here. Yeah, just looking back at ATHE, like, I don't know. I guess like when the volume comes in a second time, be a little bit more aggressive. It's hard to say. Like I wouldn't even really say there's like a massive lesson to walk away with this one. Besides the fact of like, give it another try, like, okay, take those profits, take those base hits. And then all of a sudden realize that this thing's actually not holding its highs. It's not pulling back. It's not going to $3 like I would have thought. It's holding its highs. And now volume's coming in again. It's trying again to break that VWAP zone. So let's give it again. Let's give it one more try, right? Just kind of being open to it, understanding that, if I never did this, I probably would have done this. So just being flexible and giving it a second chance, I guess. It sells off here a lot. I wasn't really interested in any of these trades. Although right here I actually said 375 would be probably a good order, then it pops up here 5%, but I was scared about a flush and it happened, but still could have worked. Right now, it looks like it's breaking above the 9-minute EMA, 5-minute breakout. This is actually pretty good, probably sign to buy, but I don't know. I'm done with trading on the day, and will I trade ATHE for the rest? Will I swing trade it or something like that? Most likely no. I think there's some big support at 3, but this thing never really holds its high, so I just be very careful with ATHE. I don't know. Probably has some warrants out or something. There's a lot of sellers in the way this one moves, so I don't really think it's going to hold its highs here. It might, but it might not. And I don't really know if I would even trade this if it wasn't even close to 3. So maybe I would trade at 3 or 250. Looking for a bounce, but other than that, I don't think I would trade this where it is right now. Really quickly, let me just kind of show you guys the other trades. Obviously, HUSA, and then we can maybe talk about a possible swing on maybe AL or something else. HUSA, I traded this pre-market, didn't really amount to too much. 76 million float, US oil and gas company. They had a catalyst operations update. We believe it's time to continue, so kind of good news. Bought the dip here, but the problem is I bought the dip too soon, and then the bounce, which is actually pretty strong, 9%, didn't really amount to much, and I because my poor entry, so I closed this position, and I knew I wasn't going to look at this one because it pulled back over 30%, and guess what? This is why we don't look at tickers that pull back so much. What else do we have? So Huzo, we made $3 on. ZCMD. This one, ZCMD, was really a mistake on my end. I should have never been trading this ticker. Had a quick move to the upside and a quick sell-off. I tried to buy the dip down here. It was a 50% sell-off. First one didn't work, closed for a scratch. Second one, again, would have worked if I actually held it a little bit longer. But at one point, I would have been risking like 20 cents a share, 30 cents a share even. I don't know if I would have wanted to kind of go through that. That's really close to my max stop. But then, pops up here 14%. So, and then, the red to green move on it was beautiful. This was a 70% move. That's absolutely ridiculously insane. You can't even really predict a move like that. But again, kind of cool. ZCMD, I knew I wasn't going to trade it though. COCP, really quickly, let's talk about this one. 32 million float, US Biotech, no catalyst besides the fact that they had on this 8th of last month, July, a $5 price target increase. So that's ridiculous. I had a feeling that 2.5 was going to see some big support on this one. That's what I wrote down on my notepad here. So I bought this one. This trade killed my soul a little bit. And I honestly, looking at this one now, it hurts a little bit as well, because this one, again, had a perfect red to green move, had a double bottom, almost a bit of a fake out double bottom here in this $47 zone, and then popped up and, oh God, 23%. Yeah, wow, I dropped the ball so hard today. The fact that I'm even green today is like mind-blowing. So yeah, really, really poor trading on my end. Let me show you guys how ridiculous this setup was. So COCP, I knew this one was a little bit sticky because it was selling off so aggressively, and I knew there was a chance of this thing flushing, which actually did happen. But the thing is, I was like, okay, well, we already sold off quite a bit. Actually, 35, quite a bit in terms of like 20+%, and we're near $3 big support. We just can't really seem to crack it. There's a good chance that we might crack back above 3 in terms, we're at 280 roughly, and it doesn't seem like we're going lower, so we might crack above 3. That was my thesis. I enter here, and all of a sudden, I'm up again like 3%. Didn't take my profits, and we pull lower, and I sell for a loss, and I'm like, oh, kill me! Like, this is ridiculous. Like, again, I'm not trying to complain too much. I'm not trying to sound overly negative, but it's those moves where you're up 3-4% and you close for a loss that like really are emotionally draining, because you're just like, no, because it was right there in front of you, and then you gave it back. Okay, anyway, I closed this one near pretty much the perfect low. Actually, I think I was the lowest spot on this candle. Maybe not, I don't know. And then guess what happens? Literally, it's like, okay, Alex is out. Let's rock it up here 15%. And I'm like, no, I knew that was going to happen. I knew we were going to break 3, whatever. It's literally like the ATHE trade. So today I was just getting skunked. Like, I had the right idea on a lot of setups, but either I wasn't patient long enough, I didn't let the move ride long enough. Maybe I should have just, put a stop in and forgot about it, although that's really not my favorite way to trade. But, it's just like one of those days where you're right to some extent, but your execution is lacking a little bit in terms of timing, in terms of, a plethora of like little kind of tweaks. It's just like statistically, it's going to happen every now and then. So like, it doesn't even totally bother me, because I just understand that's just how it is. But at the same time, it's just like, rough. So yeah, COCP 2.5. I even wrote it down on my list, or my watch list here. 2.5 is going to be a huge support zone. And twice we could have got big moves off of 2.5. So sweet stuff, but yeah, it is what it is. Kind of dropped the ball there a little bit, I guess. I don't know. Really quickly here, guys, AAL. Let me show you guys this ticker, because this is quite cool. Doing kind of what I was hoping it would do. Let's quickly go here to the 4-hour and zoom in a little bit here. So right now it's 11.5. So I entered AAL roughly at 11.5. So I'm pretty much at break even. I entered AAL right here somewhere in this dip. I was holding this one, holding it, and then I was up here, had some nice profits, probably like 7% or so. And then, here I was down probably like 7% or no, 3%. And then, up again 5%, and then, all of a sudden down like 6-7%. And then now I'm back at break even. But a big reason why I decided to hold AAL is actually because we broke $11, which was kind of scary, but we broke it and bounced right back above it. We broke it again and had a hammer candle, very bullish sign. And each time we broke it, there was not a lot of selling volume. So that's a very bullish indicator, and that's why I never sold my AAL position. Now, I got to admit, I did make a mistake on... so yeah, here you can see AAL. My price is 11.53 actually, not 11.56. So a little bit better ever entry. So yeah, I'm up on this one just a little bit by like $6-8 on AAL right now. See KODK, this one really kind of kills my soul a little bit because some really bad news came out about KODK, really bad news. And I fumble a little bit. So I bought it right here at 16.29, not the best entry, but it was actually almost the perfect bottom on this. But we pull back, keep pulling back here. And that's why I actually bought a little bit more here at 14.77. I actually had a pretty decent average of about like 15.90, which isn't great, but whatever. For the fact that this thing has sold off so much, I was like, I feel pretty confident about this. The fact that this is going to probably have a 9 EMA retest is probably really, really high. We're at huge support and resistance. And when I mean huge, I mean like ridiculously big support and resistance. We're at the zone that we couldn't break out forever on KODK since the beginning of time. So like at this $17 zone. So I knew there was big support here, but what happens? This is ridiculous. Pre-market, Senator Warren asks SEC insider trading for insider trading probe of Kodak coronavirus deal. This thing falls off a cliff again, pre-market. This is all, I'm not complaining here about like anyone else. This is just poor trading on my end. This is where I had that pre-market entry, 14.77, and this is when the news came out. And I was like, well, I'm not going to hold into a company that's being searched by the SEC. And, you know, these guys still have a far way down. So this is way too risky for me. So here's the news. It literally goes down. And this is a big company, guys. This is the very large company. So this thing goes down. What is that? I can't even see it. About 11% or so. Actually, what is the size of this company here? Let me quickly check. Former gappers, $670 million company. So not too crazy, not over $1 billion, but it used to be over $1 billion. It used to be several billions. Okay, so KODK, you know, has that news, and then I sell here on the 9-minute or the 9-minute EMA retest at 14.69. I was like, whatever. At least I didn't sell at the perfect bottom and, you know, take an extra 5% hit on this one. Unfortunately, it actually finds a support here, and guess what? Into the market open, breaks 21%, and, you know, my break even would have been roughly here at 15.9 or so, and then, you know, I could have ended this profitable, which is so painful because I was profitable in this trade. Here at like 15.90, I was at break even. I was even up a few dollars. And then I don't even want to think about it, guys. Here's how I could have avoided this situation. Let me tell you right now. So yesterday I got into this trade a little bit aggressively, a little bit early. I bought the perfect low here and I was up at like 5%, you know, because as a day trader, I knew this was a good entry. But as a swing trader, I knew that this, you know, could keep going lower, but I held on to it. I took a day trade entry on a swing trade, which you should never do. So that was my first mistake. I should have had a low conservative limit order, maybe at 15.5, maybe even a break of 15, but probably 15.5 at the minimum. And then as it broke 15.5, I could have averaged down somewhere into maybe $14. So all of a sudden, I would have had a better risk reward. And with that news coming out, maybe I could have still sold for a small profit if I sold, or I would have gave it maybe a chance for a pre-market run attempt higher. So, you know, that's just by basically having better risk reward, you can make smarter decisions. So it's really, really good to always be thinking about risk reward. You know, you always want to be managing your risk. And with KODK, I think the big reason I lost on this swing trade is because I didn't manage my risk as well because of that first entry was too high. It's really that simple. So I don't know. We'll see what we do on this one. But for now, it is what it is. And yeah. We're still up nicely on the day, so I'm pretty happy. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up there. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know what you guys are trading. What are you guys swing trading? What do you guys think about AAL? And let's move on. And I will see you guys first thing tomorrow morning. Don't forget to drop a like, guys, if you enjoy the content. And if you're totally new, consider subscribing. I'd love to have you join the community. Ciao, ciao, guys.